Go to myphdweightloss.com and learn how you can lose weight for the last time. Thank you for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition studio for today's edition of Just the Truth. Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott says that Joe Biden's approach at the border increases national security risk for his state and the country as a whole, and doesn't rule out the possibility that members of ISIS are already in the country. Meanwhile, Governor Abbott was the featured speaker last night at a GOP event in New York City, and Mayor Eric Adams said he hoped that the Texas governor would see how the city has managed the migrant crisis, offering Abbott a complimentary stay at a migrant shelter. No news if Governor Abbott took him up on that or not. Just as we've all predicted, the 2024 election is going to be a roller coaster ride, and some of the latest polling is reinforcing that in relationship to the 2024 race for the White House between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. It appears to be tightening just weeks after the two became their respective parties' presumptive nominees, according to some recent national and battleground state polling. We'll get you up to date on the latest with that as well. And New York County faces legal setbacks over ordering restricting transgender players in women's sports. It's hard to believe that we're still debating whether males should be allowed to play in female sports, but that debate is still going on strong all around the country. I'll tell you about this latest legal case in New York State. And where will you be watching the solar eclipse on Monday? Do you have big plans to do so? Maybe a watch party? A group in New York has some very unusual plans. You're not going to believe how they plan to watch the eclipse. You can join today's conversation on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. You can leave a voice message, and as always, your comments are welcome. Your emails are welcome at joey@joeyhudson.com. Let me invite you to join me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and hope that you found my YouTube channel by now as well.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
On our guest line this morning, Senator Tim Scott.
Thank you for listening to one of the best radio shows. Joey, God bless your leadership.
Joey, congratulations on your new show.
I just wanted to let you know that I always appreciate your perspective and your common sense approach to the issues.
You know what? If people like you keep telling us the truth, believe me, we're paying close attention.
Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott joined America's Newsroom yesterday to explain how President Joe Biden's approach at the border increases national security risk, not only for his state of Texas, but for everyone living in our country. Of course, we knew that, right? Saying it's clear that the Biden administration is doing nothing to stop terrorists from coming across the border. They are knowingly allowing them in, the governor said. Abbott spoke about the story this week of a Texas National Guardsman accused of smuggling a migrant across the southern border, led authorities on a high-speed chase before he was finally taken into custody. The dash and body cam videos went somewhat viral this week. What a disappointment and what a horrible story. Saveron Amari Donovan Johnson, who is deployed to Eagle Pass as part of Governor Abbott's Operation Lone Star, is now facing charges including evading arrest, smuggling of persons, and unlawful carry of a weapon, the Texas Department of Public Safety confirmed. Video of his capture, shared online this week by News Nations, sees Johnson being pulled from the driver's seat of a silver SUV and out the passenger side door by authorities, who then take him into custody. Governor Abbott says there's just no excuse for a guardsman like this to be doing these types of things.
To have a member of the National Guard be involved in assisting illegal immigration is reprehensible. Know this. I just recently signed a law.
We are following on the border. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is here in studio with us, and we're thrilled to have you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you all.
What can you tell us about this? I mean, perhaps an isolated incident, but obviously not good.
For one, it is isolated, but for another, it makes me angry. I consider this person to be a traitor, a criminal, fighting back against what we are trying to do in the state of Texas. We are using our National Guard to repel and to stop illegal immigration. To have a member of the National Guard be involved in assisting illegal immigration is reprehensible. know this. I just recently signed a law that increased the penalties for smuggling illegal immigrants to a mandatory minimum of 10 years behind bars. This person, as a traitor to the cause and mission of the National Guard, hopefully will be put behind bars for more than 10 years. But let me use this as a public information message. If there's anybody who comes in and smuggles illegal immigrants, and you're going to be caught, you're going to be spending a long time behind bars in Texas.
Governor Abbott was also asked about the over 100 miles of razor wire that the Texas National Guard has installed along the border. And even though the Biden administration has said that they will be sending federal agents, remember this? Remember when it was first revealed that the Texas National Guard, under orders from the governor, would be installing razor wire? Remember all of the hoopla and the pushback that we heard from the Biden administration, how this was unsafe? Of course it's unsafe. That's the reason they're putting it up, to keep people from coming across and into the border. But remember how the Biden administration just really was blustery, saying that they're not going to stand for this and that they're going to send federal agents down there to cut the wire, remove the wire? They haven't done it yet. Wonder why? That was one of the questions that Governor Abbott was asked, as to why the Biden administration hasn't taken those steps yet.
The other one is what you're trying to do to contain the border. That includes razor wire. Now, Dana and I have observed for months now how the Biden administration is not telling you to stop doing that. And we've seen Eagle Pass, Texas, and Matt Finn 30 minutes ago in El Paso said they've constructed 122 miles of razor wire. Question: why is the administration not stopping you from doing this?
First, I have to applaud our National Guard for stepping up and laying down that more than 100 miles of razor wire, because it is an effective barrier that denies illegal entry. But look, as you all know, the number one issue in the United States and in the presidential race is illegal immigration. And you know that Texas is the only one stepping up, doing anything about it. If Biden, who's so underwater in the polling on illegal immigration, were to interfere with what Texas is doing, it would really destroy his campaign. Then I'll add this, that the public doesn't know. The Border Patrol on the ground in all these areas that we're working, they support Texas doing what we're doing. So they're against the president. If the president,
but they've bucked you on everything, and they've backed off of this, and we're just curious to know why. What explains that?
It would completely dismantle the Biden campaign, going after the only person of the United States that's stopping illegal immigration. It would decimate his campaign. His campaign would be over. He might as well just leave office
tomorrow.
Remember,
they said that they were going to come in and cut the razor wire. They haven't done that, and they don't want the visual of that, indeed.
Exactly.
Of course, Joe Biden doesn't want that visual. Yes, they're going to be all blustery and threaten to do things, but I think we have to give Biden a little bit of credit to know just how stupid it would be for him to have a confrontation, because I think he knows by now that Greg Abbott's not going to back down. Greg Abbott's going to try everything he possibly can within his power and within the law to protect citizens of Texas and ultimately protect you and me. The most chilling part of this conversation was when Governor Abbott specifically talked about the potential of a 9/11 type terrorist attack because of the terrorists who are coming across the border as well, describing that there are two categories of illegals crossing the border every day, and not ruling out that there could be members of ISIS in the country already.
But I do want to ask you about terror threat possibilities coming across the border. On Sunday alone, Easter Sunday, 919 known gotaways were recorded at the border. A 7-day average is 761. Terror watch list migrants for year to date right now, 69. I mean, this is scary. Peter Doocy asked John Kirby about it yesterday at the White House. Watch him here.
The chief of the Border Patrol is saying 140,000 gotaways. If we don't know who is coming into our country and we don't know what their intent is, that is a threat. Does President Biden agree?
The president absolutely believes that along that border we do have significant national security concerns that have to be met.
He also said that they're doing everything that they possibly can. But are you worried that we're in a September 10th mentality on this issue?
Well, let's be clear. The Biden administration is doing nothing to stop terrorists from coming across the border. They are knowingly allowing them in. And there's two categories here. There are the terrorists who are actually apprehended. The terrorists apprehended are an all-time record, many multiples of those who came across the border under the Trump administration. But second, you talked about the gotaways. Well, the terrorists will pay extra not to be caught. What that means is the number that we've caught, which is extraordinary, there's far more than that who've gotten across the border. Remember this also. Last month, the FBI director talked about a potential 9/11 type terrorist attack because of the terrorists who are coming across our border. The chief job of the President of the United States is national security. President Biden is failing at national security. We are extraordinarily concerned about a terrorist attack occurring in Texas or elsewhere in the United States because of the terrorists who are crossing our border at will,
Governor,
unstopped by the Biden administration.
Do you think ISIS is here today?
So I have no information that they are. However, again, the FBI director was talking last month about the possibility that ISIS could be coming here. Think about this concept. It's ridiculous that anybody has their shoes inspected at an airport these days when terrorists can come right across the border and sneak in and come here.
The governor's right, isn't he? It is crazy that if you and I go through an airport, we have to walk through a metal detector. We have to do a body scan in some cases. We have to take our shoes off. But these people can just waltz in to our southern border, into our country. And we know, if you missed the episode yesterday, I laid out some of the horrible crime that we're witnessing because of the illegals, at the hands of the illegals. Again, just think about the young nursing student at the University of Georgia and what her family has been put through. There are a lot more out there like this. But put that aside for a minute. Think about the terrorist implications. That's bad enough. It's bad enough that they're raping people, that they're robbing people, and all the other horrible crimes, that they're smuggling drugs in, selling drugs. But just think about the fact that there could be terrorists who are planning the next 9/11 as we speak. And this is not to scare anyone. This is just reality. This is just reality. Texas this week defended its anti-illegal immigration law in oral arguments before a federal appeals court as the law remains on hold due to a legal challenge from the Biden administration. And this just frustrates me to no end as well. Think about all of the money. It's probably millions of dollars that has been wasted by states. Let's just use Texas, for example, because they've been out front. They've been leading the effort. But think about all the money that it's cost the people of Texas to defend their laws against the Biden administration. So the people of Texas who pay their hard-earned money just like you and I do in federal taxes, their federal taxes are being used against them. If you're in Texas, you got a double whammy because your federal taxes are being used to sue your state. Your state taxes are being used to defend yourself. And all you want is to be safe. You and your family to be safe. Your governor is trying to do that, and we have an idiot in the White House who just doesn't see that by allowing people to come into our country who we have no idea who they are, what kind of risk he's putting us in. This legislation, we've talked about it many times in the past. Abbott signed legislation SB 4 back in December. It allows local police to arrest illegal immigrants and for judges to order them deported. Now, the Biden administration, they're concerned that maybe Texas will discriminate against people. That maybe they'll isolate people. They'll target people just because they're Hispanic. Well, look, we have a crisis here. I'm sorry. And yes, there may be some Hispanic people who are here legally who may be questioned, but I would think that they'd be okay with that. If they're here legally, they have nothing to hide, and they want their families to be safe as well. This law, though, has been on hold due to the challenges from the Biden administration, which says that the law is unconstitutional, that it hurts international relations and impedes the federal government's enforcement of immigration law. Well, that's just it. They're not enforcing the immigration law. Texas, on the other hand, has argued that the law is necessary due to the Biden administration's alleged failure to secure the southern border, so they're securing it themselves. The court has previously blocked the law from going into effect, but then it was briefly allowed to go into effect by the U.S. Supreme Court before being kicked back down again and blocked again by the Fifth Circuit. It's one of a number of such measures being passed or moved forward by states across the U.S. Louisiana, for example, Iowa, Tennessee, are all states that have bills under consideration that would do either the same or similar to what Texas is seeking to do. Is the Biden administration going to sue every one of these states? Also, before we get off of immigration, New York City Mayor Eric Adams said yesterday that he hopes Texas Governor Abbott will see how the city has managed the migrant crisis. Evidently, Governor Abbott was in New York yesterday. He was speaking to a GOP function in the Big Apple. Mayor Adams offered the Texas governor a complimentary stay at a migrant shelter. Adams' comments came shortly before Abbott, who has, of course, bused thousands and thousands of illegals to New York City over the last couple of years, was set to speak at this New York Republican Party's annual gala. Adams said in a press conference, "I'm going to offer him a stay in one of the Hercs so he can see what he has created and understand how we're treating people with the dignity and respect that he should have shown as well." Now, Hercs, as Adams was using the word, refers to New York City's humanitarian emergency response and relief centers, which have served as temporary housing facilities for migrants who arrive in the city. The comments from Mayor Adams, who has repeatedly blasted the governor of Texas for not coordinating with the city on matters of illegal immigration, came after the city began giving out prepaid debit cards to illegal immigrants residing in New York City this past week. The prepaid cards are meant to be for the purchasing of food and baby supplies and may only be used at certain grocery stores and supermarkets and convenience stores. The effort is part of a reported $53 million pilot program to hand out prepaid cards to migrant families housed in hotels despite public outcry among New Yorkers. New Yorkers don't want their money being given away like this. The program, which the mayor's office confirmed, will provide migrant families of 4 with 2 children under 5 with up to $350 each week until the end of their 28-day stay. Roughly 180,000 illegals have arrived in New York City since 2022, overwhelming city resources as officials have struggled to find housing for them. And as you know, Governor Abbott has bused asylum seekers, the illegals, to New York and other cities in an effort to assist them in traveling to sanctuary jurisdictions and also highlighting the crisis that border communities, small cities in Texas are facing. 864-477-JOEY is the Furman Ford text line. I'd love to get your comments. Is Governor Abbott, don't we need more people like him? Don't we need more state governors to step up and to oppose Joe Biden and to oppose people like Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City? 864-477-5639. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line. Leave me a quick voice message. Emails joey@joeyhudson.com. Just as we all predicted, this 2024 election cycle is going to be a roller coaster. And we're already seeing it with some of the polling. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, neck and neck in some of the key battleground states. Those numbers, Trump has been leading consistently for months. But some of the latest ones that have been released this week show that the race is tightening literally weeks after both have become the presumptive nominees of their respective parties. I got some of the details for you. First, let me talk with you about your weight. I know that's personal, but let's just be honest with each other. You've kind of gained some excess weight around your waist, haven't you? And you want to get it off. You want to feel better. You want to be able to focus better, sleep better. You want to be able to get out and play with the children and the grandchildren. Well, let me tell you how you accomplish that and how you, once and for all, lose that excess weight. Write this number down, 864-252-4925. Dr. Ashley Lucas and her team at PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition will help you. They will save your life. PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition. Call them today, 864-252-4925. Set up your consultation and start your journey. I'm soon going to be coming up on 4 years of when I was first introduced to Dr. Lucas and her wonderful team at the Greenville office of PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition. You can find them in Asheville, Charlotte, Lake Norman. And if you're not close to any of those, if it's not convenient for you to go to an office, they can do this virtually as well. And they have all across the country. 864-252-4925 or online at myphdweightloss.com. Start your journey today. And in just a few weeks, you too can be talking about losing 10, 20, 30 pounds or more. I've had listeners who have lost over 135 pounds. It has literally changed their life. It'll change yours too. PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition, the official partner of the Clemson Tigers. So the 2024 race, we know there's going to be a lot of pulling our hair. Let's just not pull it out between now and November. According to some of the latest polls released this week, the race has tightened a bit between Joe Biden and Donald Trump now that the American people, that it's pretty certain that they're going to be their party's nominees. I'm still not convinced that there's not something going to happen at the Democrat convention, but we'll see. We'll see this summer. But as of now, it appears that the race is tightening. Biden hasn't led in the Real Clear Politics national average since early September of last year, 2023. Trump's margin, according to RCP, has dropped to just 0.6%, 0.6 of a percentage point. The former president is still ahead in the RCP averages for some of the key states, Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, and North Carolina. But recent polling indicates that his lead is shrinking in those states. Not sure what's going on there. John McHenry is a GOP polling analyst and vice president of North Star Opinion Research. He told the Daily Caller News Foundation, I think we're seeing a tightening as both candidates clinch their nominations. Even though we've expected this matchup, it's a different mindset as you have all but official nominees. There's no question that voters are upset with President Biden and think he's done a poor job on the economy and immigration. He would lose a referendum on his leadership. What we're seeing right now is a choice between two completely known candidates, and that's a closer call than just an up or down vote on Joe Biden, he said. Both Trump and Biden effectively secured their nominations after surpassing the delegate thresholds with primary contests on March the 12th. A Marquette Law School survey released just yesterday found that Biden leads Trump by 4 points among likely voters nationwide, following 3 other polls out this week that indicated the president was up by 1 to 2 points. For example, an Emerson College poll also published yesterday showed Biden ahead 51% to 49% with very likely voters. The last time Trump had near as small of a lead over Biden was in January, where he had 0.6 tenths of a percent lead, preceded by November 13th, where he had 0.7% lead, again, according to the Real Clear Politics average. Celinda Lake is a longtime Democrat pollster and strategist. She told the Daily Caller News Foundation that the polling is definitely a trend, saying due in large part to increased enthusiasm for Biden among Democrats and softening for Trump among Republicans. Lake said third parties have also been pulling from Trump as much as Biden lately. Independent Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is pulling in at around 12.3% in a national three-way race. which increases Trump's 5.4-point lead, according to the RCP average. And with Justice for All Party candidate Cornel West and Green Party candidate Jill Stein also included, the former president is ahead by 1.99%. Trump's largest lead in the RCP average came on January 26 at 4.3%. The former president has already led Biden in over 130 polls this cycle, which far outpaces his records in both 2016 and 2020, according to the averages. In the RCP averages for battleground states like Michigan, North Carolina, Georgia, and Pennsylvania, the race appears to be tightening, according to those pollsters. Additionally, a Bloomberg Morning Consult survey that was released March 26 showed that the race is getting closer in all of the 7 swing states, but Georgia, since the last time that they had polled in mid-February. The Hill Emerson College polls published in March on the same battleground states indicated the matchups growing in competitiveness in Nevada, Michigan, and Georgia again. Scott Jennings is a Republican strategist. He's a veteran of a lot of different campaigns over the years, argues that while there's been some small marginal movements towards Biden, he believes the former President Trump fundamentally has the edge over Joe Biden, and I hope Jennings is right this time. He said, but I also think that if you ever thought this race was going to be anything but close, you're sorely mistaken. Whether you like Biden or you like Trump, you're in for a close race here, Jennings said. And so my expectation is that you're going to see some ebbs and flows in the polling. Maybe one day Trump has a poll to crow about. Maybe another Biden does. And that's what I was saying earlier. This is going to be a roller coaster ride, folks. And yes, we're going to talk about the polls. We have to. But just expect it to be up and down. This week, Trump may be leading. Next week, Biden may be leading. It's going to go back and forth. What counts is that you and I show up and vote in November. That's what counts. Doesn't matter what the polls say. We have to show up and vote, and we have to make sure that our friends, our family, our church, everybody shows up and votes in November. We can't risk another 4 years of Joe Biden. And that's why it's important that we continue to grow our Just the Truth family here. I got some great text messages I'm going to share with you in a few minutes of people saying, yes, I forwarded, I shared it like you asked me to. I shared it with friends in other states. You know, you can listen to Just the Truth anywhere. It applies everywhere. So take a minute right now and share Just the Truth with a friend, with a relative, with someone in your church. Kyle Kondik is a nonpartisan polling analyst and managing editor at Sabato's Crystal Ball. He's one of these, and he's been right quite often at taking various polls and averaging them together to make a prediction. Kondik said that there are going to be gyrations in the poll over time. While it isn't exactly profound to say, I think our default position should be that this is setting up to be a close and competitive election the way that the 5 of the last 6 have been. One final note while we're talking presidential politics. Looks like there's not going to be a no labels candidate after all. So that's one little thing that we can put aside. We don't have to worry about a no labels candidate pulling support away from Trump. Joe Cunningham, who's the national director for the political organization No Label, said yesterday that the group won't put forth a third-party presidential ticket because the hero the group was looking for never emerged. Couldn't find anybody. Cunningham joined Fox News' Your World with Neil Cavuto shortly after No Labels had made its announcement. Cunningham said, let me say, it's not for a lack of trying, that's for sure. And the shorter answer is that to fill this ticket, No Labels was looking for a hero, and a hero has not emerged. The group announced that it would end its effort to put together a unity ticket in 2024 in the presidential race, even after it gained ballot access in more than 20 states. Cunningham said that his group has been very straightforward and upfront and honest with voters that they would only move forward if 2 conditions were met. If Americans wanted another option outside of the 2 dominant parties, and if the group could find someone to lead it. He said Americans definitely want another option instead of the leading candidates. But he said that No Labels ran into trouble finding a candidate that they could back and a candidate who would come forward and would meet that criteria. He said at the end of the day, we weren't able to find candidates that we felt had a straightforward path to victory in this. Some of the list of potential candidates included Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, Maryland Governor Larry Hogan, former GOP primary contestants New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley. Ultimately, though, none of them took the group up on their possible offers, according to Joe Cunningham. That's probably a good thing. 864-477-5639 is the Furman Ford text line. Your comments are welcome. Did you think that this No Labels thing was ever going to go anywhere anyway? Realistically, I never thought that No Labels would find this dream candidate that they were looking for. It's a lot harder for a third party to be effective, to be competitive. And anybody who like the Joe Manchins of the world, they understand that. They understand what a tough task it was going to be. Moving on, a request by New York's Nassau County to prevent women's and girls' teams with transgender players from using county-run parks and sports facilities without legal consequences was denied by a federal judge yesterday, according to a Reuters report. We'll dive into that in just a moment. First, let me talk with you about that new vehicle that you're looking for. You're looking for maybe a new vehicle for the family, or you need a good work truck, an F-150 or an F-250. Furman Ford in Lawrence is where you need to go this weekend. Just head over to Lawrence, drive through the lot, and look at some of the inventory they have. Boy, I was there a couple of weeks ago talking with Jim Furman and Matthew Furman. They have a great inventory, the best inventory I think I've seen in the last few years. And the best part about Furman Ford in Lawrence is you're doing business with a locally run business. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman, they recognize this. They take it very seriously. They love being a part of this upstate community. And when it comes to getting your next vehicle, I hope you'll choose Furman Ford in Lawrence. They do business the right way. You can drop by, you can call, you can email, and you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman family. They'll help you navigate some of the great deals they have on their huge selection of great pre-owned vehicles that you can trust and new vehicles. And what's even better, when you drive your new vehicle off the lot, you know that your money stays right here in our upstate community. Let me encourage you to visit my friends at Furman Ford in Lawrence. FurmanFord.com, FurmanFord.com. Judge Nusrat Chowdhury said yesterday that the Constitution's 11th Amendment prevents a local government from suing a state government in federal courts. Chowdhury also ruled that the county has no legal standing. Now, this is a case in Nassau County, New York, where the Nassau County executive, Bruce Blakeman, issued an executive order which would deny permits to county-run parks and sports facilities if a girls' or women's sports team couldn't say that all members on the team were biological females. The judge wrote, "There are no facts in the record showing that any specific cisgender woman or girl in Nassau County will face imminent injury in an athletic event involving a transgender woman or girl on Nassau County Park's property if the executive order is invalidated." Where has this judge been living? What rock has he been hiding under? If he doesn't think that this couldn't potentially hurt a young girl or a young woman participating in sports with a male on the opposing team. The executive, Blakeman, his reasoning for the executive order stems from his effort to ensure that female athletes can compete in their respective sports fairly, he said. Mr. Blakeman held a news conference with Caitlyn Jenner, the Olympic gold medalist for the men's decathlon in 1976, prior to a gender transition who endorsed the ban. The order wouldn't have affected men's or mixed teams. It immediately received some backlash, including from Democrat State Attorney General Letitia James. There's that name again. The AG James called for Nassau County to rescind it. She sent a letter to Mr. Blakeman calling the order transphobic and blatantly illegal under New York's human rights laws. Blakeman proceeded to sue James in the U.S. District Court on Long Island, arguing that New York's anti-discrimination laws violate the U.S. Constitution. Blakeman asked the judge to order James not to pursue legal action against the county of Nassau. Meanwhile, Long Island Roller Derby League, the Long Island Roller Rebels, sued Blakeman over the executive order. The league was preparing for its upcoming season but didn't expect to get a permit to be able to use the roller rink that is run by the county because it allows anyone who identifies as a woman, and one transgender player is already on their roster. The league's lawsuit was being backed by the New York Civil Liberties Union. They wrote, "The whole point of Derby has been to be this thing where people feel welcome," the league vice president said. They said in a recent practice at the United States of America in Seaford, per the Associated Press, "We want trans women to know that we want you to come play with us, and we'll do our best to keep fighting and making sure that this is a safe space for you to play." I don't get this argument at all. Why women would want men, particularly in roller derby. That can be a tough sport. That's a very physical sport. Wow. 864-477-5639 is the Furman Ford text line. Love to get your comments on that. Katrina writes on the Furman Ford text line, "Good morning from Welford. I meant to send this earlier as a reminder for all Duke's planned rate hikes starting August this year and again in August 2026. There are 3 ways for residents to protest." Now, this is in reference, we've mentioned this before. Evidently, Duke Energy is having a series of meetings around the state about some of their proposed rate increases. Katrina says one is that you can send an email to contact@psc.sc.gov or mail to the same address, the Public Service Commission of South Carolina, your comments on this proposed rate increase. They also may attend a local hearing, she says. Just do a quick search. Katrina put some links in here. I don't have any way of sharing those with you. Just do a quick search, though, of Duke Energy. You'll see that there's actually one coming up in Greenville, where today is the deadline to register for you to attend Monday's meeting. It's in Greenville on Monday. There's also a hearing coming up in Columbia in May. You can also attend these meetings virtually, Katrina says. She says, also, Joey, I forwarded your Easter Bolo podcast to my cousin in Connecticut whose son has just completed firefighting school. Hopefully the link will make it to him and his classmates. Enjoy your day. Thanks for all you do. Katrina's referencing a new podcast that we're doing called Bolo, Jesus is Coming. We're just kicking this off. Did an Easter message. We're going to have some chaplains, some sheriffs, police chiefs, fire chiefs, where we talk about, this is an extension of our First Responder Bible Ministry, part of the Mike Gallagher Show Charitable Foundation. And Bolo, Jesus is Coming, is a podcast that is focusing on and targeting first responders. Anybody can listen to it, and the message could be applied for anyone, but this is a community that we're going to be building for our first responders. So if you have a first responder in your life, just tell them to search for Bolo wherever they listen to podcasts. Bolo, Jesus is Coming. They can also just search for my name, and it'll come right up. We'll be talking more about that as we get further into it. Faye writes, Joey, 360,000 illegals dumped in Florida to turn it to a blue state, and only a small percent of voters known about brutal death of Laken Riley. Listeners of Just the Truth, please share podcasts with all the folks you know. We have a country to save. Once the country is lost, we don't get a redo. Thank you, Faye. And Faye does a great job. I ask you at the end of every episode, to please share Just the Truth. It takes just a minute to share, and you can text it, you can email it, and if each of you will share it with someone, one person, two people, 5 people today, we'll keep growing our community here on Just the Truth. Our text of encouragement today from Joel says, most great people have attained their greatest success just one step beyond their greatest failure. God bless. Thank you, Joel. Appreciate that. 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639 is how you can comment as well on the Furman Ford text line. Leave a voice message. Send me an email, joey@joeyhudson.com. Are you planning to watch the solar eclipse on Monday? Coming up, Monday, April the 8th. Do you have plans? A group of New Yorkers have some very unusual plans. You're not going to believe how they plan to watch the eclipse. Portions of today's show made possible by our friends over at Discounted Appliance Warehouse. Are you looking for a new refrigerator, new dishwasher? Maybe you're remodeling the kitchen. You need all new appliances, and you're just not quite sure which ones to purchase. Well, the team at Discounted Appliance Warehouse, Jeff, Johnny, Kyle, the whole team over there, they make that easy for you. It's not like walking into a big box store where they know absolutely nothing about appliances there other than what aisle they're on. When you go into Discounted Appliance Warehouse, where they have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, by the way, nearly perfect reviews on Google, the team at Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they have the knowledge that you need to have confidence in your purchase, because appliances are expensive. And you can't get this wrong. You need to get it right the first time. They'll show you around the warehouse. It's just over 11,000 square feet with, at any given time, over 1,500 appliances ready for you. You can buy it today, use it today in most situations. They have an award-winning service department, expert installation, and extended warranties, and they have you covered well past the sale always. They make you part of the family. Discounted Appliance Warehouse in Pickens and online at dawpickens.com. A group of 30 skydivers are coming together to get the best possible view of the solar eclipse coming up on Monday. Literally will be in the sky at the time. Jason Berger is co-owner of Skydive the Falls, located 9 miles north of Niagara Falls in Youngstown, New York. He decided to take on this celestial-sized challenge after one of his friends, Stephen Hatz, did an eclipse jump in Oregon several years ago and then wanted to do it again for this next eclipse coming up on Monday. When Berger realized this year's April 8th eclipse would be reaching totality directly over his skydiving center, he started to come up with ways to make this dream a reality. About 9 months ago, he and his team started to plan how they could watch the solar eclipse and could literally do this, reaching new heights, literally. Nature is giving us a special event, which is the eclipse, he said. How do we go ahead and make it extreme and make it one step better than the rest, make it a little bit cooler? He said there'll be 3 airplanes and only a select few skydivers who are traveling from all over the U.S., including Texas and California. He said that they'll be joining in on this celestial jump. Again, it's Monday the 8th. For the skydivers, it's all about the timing of the jump, he said, and it has to be perfect. He said, we're going to jump 1 minute prior to totality so we can enjoy totality in full under our parachutes. To avoid any congestion in the sky, the planes will be arranged so that they're not on top of one another. He said, we also have different size parachutes that will open at different altitudes as well to keep separation between the divers. They'll also they'll be free falling while wearing their eclipse glasses. He said after that they'll deploy their parachutes and land on the ground. He talked about the safety factor that and all the plans that they put into this so that they all will be safe. He put tickets on sale back in January. They sold out in 7 minutes. Most of the lucky individuals who were able to grab a spot are licensed skydivers who've done thousands of jumps, are very experienced. He said those taking part in the jump won't forget a solar eclipse viewing party like this for the rest of their lives. There'll be thousands of feet in the air when it happens. That's it for today's Just the Truth. Appreciate you spending part of your day with me here in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio to lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. And if you haven't joined our mailing list, just go to joeyhudson.com, click on Connect with Joey so that you can receive our emails with our most up-to-date news. Find me on YouTube. Just search for Joey Hudson. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, and other social media sites as well. Appreciate you spending part of your day with me. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. Keep your emails coming as well, joey@joeyhudson.com. We're back again next week, on Monday, actually, for the solar eclipse. Until then, remember, folks, God's got this. He's still in control.